What's going on, everyone? My name is Andrew Montana. Welcome to Season 7, Episode 5 of HTF Bets. We're going to be talking sports of all sorts today, of course, except for NBA, because Tyler hates me. He's just mad Maddie didn't play him yesterday in the IM game. We're going to start off with MLB playoff predictions, followed by Ezra's NFL fantasy trade targets, and we're going to finish it off with our surefire picks of the week. And not only does somebody finally hit one of their parlays, but we've got two HTF Bets debuts. We'll be right back after commercial breaks. HTF Bets starts right now. Back. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. To my left, I've got Phil Powell. How are you doing today, Phil?
I'm doing marvelous. How about you?
Doing
Andrew?
marvelous. Same as before, Mr. 305. And Ezra, how about yourself?
Making money. I hit my parlay.
Oh my God.
So that's all I care about. We're making money over here.
Yeah, and you won in fantasy, right? Against who?
Oh, I wonder who. Oh, the guy that drafted two quarterbacks back to back.
He was a kicker's performance away from losing, but we'll get into that later. But welcome to Mr. John Warner, a Combine regular, but making his Bets debut. How you doing, Mr. Warner?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for asking. We've got the gray suit on today in honor of Mr. Jeffrey Lux. I hope he's watching this because he loves to tune in.
Love you, Jeff.
But just to ease you guys into the topic of conversation today, we're going to be picking a team from either the National League or American League to win the World Series with a total of 2 selections from either league. We're going to say our prediction and who's going to win the World Series and in how many games they're going to do so, and a World Series MVP. Now, Ezra, you took the easy way out.
Okay, listen, I did, but I don't think any other team's competitive with them. That's why I think so. There's so many things about them that make them better than other teams that are coming up. Like Baltimore Orioles, they're a great team. They're so young and inexperienced, though. They have no playoff, they have had no playoff play time. The Dodgers, they're still very good, of course, but at the same time, they still have some young guys that need to figure out some stuff first. James Outman, Bobby Miller, they're going to have to perform heavily in the playoffs if they want to make a good run. It can't just be Mookie Betts. It can't just be Freddie Freeman. Then there's other teams, but I don't think that they're, again, those are the only two teams I think that are remotely close to Atlanta. I think Atlanta is so clear. I mean, they have the clear MVP in Ronald Acuna Jr. He's having probably if not one of the best seasons I've ever watched in my life of a MLB player. Like, he's hitting .330, 41 homers, 70 stolen bases. Like, this man is killing it right now. But I don't have him. If they do make the World Series, I do not have him being the MVP. I have Matt Olson being the MVP. And this is for one specific reason. For World Series MVPs, they tend to favor a lot more of the guys that hit a lot of bombs, score a lot more runs, hit a lot more RBIs. AKA, when the Braves won it, Jorge Soler got the MVP because he hit 2 nukes. When the Astros won it, Jeremy Pena went on a home run streak that made him just go crazy, and obviously, he got it. So that's why I'm saying that Matt Olson's going to win it before the likes of Ronald Acuna in this series. But they're sitting at plus 260 odds right now. I think it's updated to plus 250. Still, you can make some decent money off that. I think it's an easy bet.
I think it's an easy way out, but yeah, we can go with that. Currently sitting at first place is your Atlanta Braves, followed by the Baltimore Orioles, and I'll jump in next with the third overall standing, that is the LA Dodgers. Now, I'm picking them not just because I'm an LA boy, but I will mention this. When I was going through the box score of just overall stats, LA was basically second in everything. Guess who was first?
I wonder who. The team that's going to win the World Series.
Yeah, so I'm going for the LA Dodgers. They're currently sitting at plus 420 to win it all, and they've been on and off a little bit, but consistently solid throughout the year. They've currently got the 3rd best record in the MLB with 98 and 60, and just beat Colorado last night, by the way, 8-2. Second highest plus minus in the league with plus 210, of course, behind Atlanta. I can list off every stat that's good for the LA Dodgers. Who's number one? I wonder. And I've got them beating the Baltimore Orioles in 6. I don't know if you remember.
I also have them beating Baltimore. I also have the Braves beating Baltimore, but I have it in 5.
Yeah. So in 5.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's fair. That's fair.
I think Baltimore makes it just over Houston, but I don't think they even compete in the World Series.
Yeah, Baltimore's got its flaws, but I mean they're second overall, so I mean props to you. But when it comes to who's gonna win World Series MVP, this was a bit of a toss-up for me because I'm new to baseball. This is all new research to me. But you can tell there's 2 front runners for this award: Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. it all came down to experience for me because they're both putting up similar stats. Freddie Freeman is 3rd in batting average, 2nd in total hits, and 3rd in total bases, whereas Mookie Betts is actually right behind him in total bases, sitting at 4th, 5th most in walks, 6th most home runs, and 7th most in RBIs. But when it comes down to it, Mookie Betts has slightly more experience.
I love Mookie Betts. He's an ex-Red Sox player.
I think Freddie Freeman statistically is a better performer, at least he has been in the regular season. But when it comes to playoff performances, Mookie Betts already has 2 championships, 1 in Boston, and thank goodness he came to LA because he made the right decision, like Rajon Rondo back in the day. But I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be Mookie Betts. He's got it under his belt. He's done it before. But with that being said, next up in the current MLB standings is Tampa Bay, and I've got Phil right here to talk to me about it.
Honestly, yes. You know, me being a Florida boy, I said, why not go for my hometown team, the Tampa Bay Rays, right? So they're a very solid team. I mean, like how you said, they are young and inexperienced, but they have great pitching and they have great hitting. I mean, like the last 2 seasons, they had the fewest runs allowed, right? And, you know, when we talk about great hitters, I say Isaac Padres, I believe, and Yandy Diaz. You know, right now, Yandy Diaz, his batting average right now is at .32.8. The national average, is like 25.0 and then 27.270. So they're a very good, strong team. Like, they are still young, but my MVP for the World Series to me will be Zach Eflin. He's a great pitcher. You know, yes, I know. He's a great pitcher. He's coming from the Phillies, you know. So right now he have 16 wins, which is 3rd most right now, I believe, behind your Atlanta Braves pitcher, Spencer Strider.
Yep.
If I said his name correctly. Yep. Yeah. Honestly, and I also have the Braves and the Rays going at it in the finals, but I have it going Game 7. You know, I like a good game, you know.
You don't think Atlanta's going to pull through, especially in Game 7?
You know, just their 8 All-Stars might beat this very young Rays team possibly?
No, because we love Cinderella stories, so why not?
We do, but are they realistic?
Yes.
I mean, he is a Clippers fan.
This is very realistic. What Zach Eflin winning MVP? Usually pitchers don't really win MVP that often in the World Series, so I'd be very surprised at that. But I'm not opposed to the Rays. They're still a very solid team, even without who should not be mentioned. So, but yeah, we can move on.
With that being said, I'll just move down the current rankings a little bit more. We've got Milwaukee sitting at 5, Philadelphia 6, Texas 7th, Toronto 8, and John, who's going to talk about the Houston Astros at number 9. By the way, respect to John for not picking someone in the top 5 or just top 4, really. But talk to me, John. Why do you think Houston's going to take it all the way?
So I think the Houston Astros are the team to beat in the American League, and they have been since their, if you want to say dynasty, began 6 years ago. They've represented the American League in the World Series 4 out of the last 6 years. So they are the closest thing that baseball's had to a dynasty since the late 90s, early 2000s Yankees. And no team has actually repeated as World Series champion since the Yankees, who three-peated from 98 to 2000. But unfortunately, that ends this year. The Houston Astros are going to win the World Series over the Atlanta Braves in 7 games, I believe. And I think that the Astros are just top to bottom the deepest team in MLB. Yes, their record is misleading. They're not up there. They're not going to be the 1 seed in the American League, but they might not even win their own division, and they might not even make the playoffs. They still haven't clinched the playoffs, but that's mainly due to the toughness of the American League West. You have the Mariners and the Texas Rangers all within a game and a half, 2 games of each other right there at the top. So also, when you factor in the Toronto Blue Jays, there are 4 teams vying for 3 playoff spots, 2 of them wild cards. So one of those teams, very talented team, a 90-win team, is not going to make the playoffs. They're going to be left at the doorstep. But I think the Astros will carry on, and I think they will make it to the American League Championship and to the World Series because of their experience. Their rotation is arguably the best in baseball. You have Justin Verlander, who's arguably the greatest pitcher of our generation. He's seen it all, he's done it all, he's won it all. So Verlander is an excellent guy to have at the top of the rotation, just as he was last year in 2022 when they won it all. Then you have Framber Valdez, who threw a no-hitter this year on August 1st. So that says all you need to know about him, and Christian Javier. So this team is incredibly deep in their lineup as well. My pick is Kyle Tucker for the MVP. He's one of the most underrated players in baseball, and I think he's going to win World Series MVP for the victorious Houston Astros.
Yeah, and Houston Astros, as well as Phil's Tampa Bay team, both sitting at plus 1,200 odds to win it all. But Ezra, you had some words that you want to toss at John. What do you got?
No, yeah, I love John's pick. I absolutely adore John's pick. But I just want to ask you really quick, what do you think that Houston does have currently that is better or could possibly have them beat the Atlanta Braves in this World Series?
I think it boils down to their pitching. Their bullpen is one of the best in baseball. Hector Neris, Ryan Presley, Ryan Stanek, these guys are insane. So I think their bullpen and starters are a little bit better than the Atlanta Braves. The Braves had Charlie Morton go down. Bryce Elder's been struggling. So really, in their rotation, all they have right now is Max Fried and Spencer Strider. But the Astros are just so deep. Their lineup has 2 former MVPs in Jose Abreu and Jose Altuve, not to mention Jeremy Pena, who was the World Series and ALCS MVP last year as a rookie. So this team is talented top to bottom. And honestly, despite their record, I think that they are the deepest team in baseball, and that's why they'll win the World Series.
So I'm going to ask this to both of you guys, John and Phil, who both chose AL teams. What do you think it means that you guys are both picking your respective teams to face the Atlanta Braves in the World Series? Phil, I'll start with you. Real quick.
Well, honestly, I feel like the reason why I picked the Rays because I forgot when the Rays won it back-to-back. I forgot what years they won back-to-back. But they've been a very good and consistent team for a very long time. And you know me, I like consistency over than just 1 year wonder. So I feel like they are a very good team, and they could compete against the Braves.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. John, real quick, what do you got?
I think, like I said, all the reasons that I mentioned before for the Astros. But when you look at the National League side, the Atlanta Braves are clearly the team to beat. They've almost dominated, not almost, they have dominated every single team that they played in the National League side this year, including the second best team in the NL by record, the LA Dodgers. I don't think that series will be close in the NLCS. I think the Braves run away with it on the NL side. And
oh, come on.
we'll eventually lose a heartbreaker to the Astros in Game 7.
Love you, John.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. That's going to be your last time on Bets. We'll be right back after another quick commercial break, and we'll toss it right into Ezra's NFL Fantasy Trade Targets.
Jack, buddy, why are you here?
I don't really understand why I'm here. I got called a delusional fan. I just don't understand why I'm delusional if I think Kirk Cousins had the best mustache in the league.
Well, Jack, buddy, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but I don't think anybody looks cool in handlebars.
But they're back, man. They're back.
They're not. They're not. Sometimes you just got to face the hard truth. It's right there in front of you. All these people, they're calling you delusional, but sometimes you got to worry about, am I projecting? Is it me? And in this
Let me
case,
tell you something, bud. It could never be me. Anything I say is factual and truth, and that's why the Vikings are going 16-1 this year.
Organization, you have to look at your roster and say, I've had Kirk O'Thuggins for 6 years. Maybe it's time to move on.
There is no moving on from Kirk Thuggins and Justin Jefferson.
Do you think that maybe this all started just because of a little disappointment?
Nothing has started. This is how I live, and I am not delusional. I'm a prophet.
Back to HTF Bets. We're going to be going right into our NFL Fantasy Trade Targets, brought to you by Ezra. But real quick, we've got ourselves another Bets debut. Miss Kiersten Blaylock, how you doing?
I'm doing good, but I know what's about to happen, so I'm doing tragic.
Yeah, we'll just get it over with. And Phil, if you want to join in real quick, her Broncos just took one of the most devastating losses of sports history to the Miami Dolphins.
Yes.
Notice how I didn't say Dolphins because you guys took the L. I've been cooking that one up since last night, and I'm so proud of it. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. That's why I feel marvelous today. You know, I'm sorry.
feeling marvelous.
The fourth team in NFL history to get 70 points in an actual game, modern NFL. So I'm sorry, Kiersten, but
Here's the thing I will say about being a Broncos fan. It's always living anxiously. So it's what I'm used to anyways. So this is nothing new.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing new to a Bronco either, hence Russell Wilson with that offensive line. But Ezra, I'll kick it right to you with your list of 5 players to either buy low, sell high, and fantasy football.
Awesome, thank you. By the way, this is for you, Kiersten. So this week we are going to talk about players that you should be selling high and buying low. To start, I'm going to have Tank Dell. This is a kind of a crazy one. This is a bold one because Tank Dell's been very, very, very good so far. And obviously he kind of came up on the scene, rookie, you know. He wasn't looking to get like drafted super high, but he's performing under CJ Stroud's really, low-key, really good offensive scheme over there. But there's no chance that he gets super consistent touches over there when you have the likes of Robert Woods, you have the likes of Nico Collins. There's just no chance that he gets the same touches every game. So I think you should get somebody who's a little bit more consistent. So, and I think even then, if somebody else needs a flex and say you need a running back or something, just an RB1, you could absolutely use Tank Dell in a trade for something like that. And now speaking of that, Devin Achane. I also think you need to sell high on him. He had a great game against the Denver Broncos where he scored 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns. But do I think he's going to do it again? Probably not, honestly. Raheem Mostert's still got the starting spot on lock. He's going to be fighting for the the RB2 spot when Jeff Wilson does inevitably come back. But I think Devin Achane will end up covering that spot, but he's not going to perform up to the likes of what he did this week, in my opinion. So I think you should sell high on him. You don't really need him after this week, I'll be honest. Next up, Jahmyr Gibbs, buy low on him. He obviously hasn't had a great start to the season fantasy-wise, so I think go get him now while David Montgomery's injured. He's going to get a lot more rep. He looks good when he does get the ball. That's the thing. One thing I watched a lot, especially from game week 1 versus the Chiefs, when he had the ball, he played great, but for some reason, they just kept going back to David Montgomery. I think that Jahmyr Gibbs is inevitably going to take over that RB1 spot after he gets all this playing time, now that David Montgomery's gone. There's not even a time frame to where David Montgomery's going to be coming back because he has a very bad thigh injury, which hurts my fantasy team a lot because I had David Montgomery as my RB1, but we don't need to talk about that. Next up, we have Breece Hall. Buy low on him right now. We are talking about this Jets team that is struggling offensively. They're going to need to run the ball a lot more now that they've given Zach Wilson his chance, and he's done absolutely nothing with it. So I'm going to say Breece Hall is going to get a lot more rep, and Dalvin Cook's not great. So Breece Hall is clearly going to be the RB1. So I think Breece Hall is going to get a lot more rep in this situation. He's going to get a lot more runs. Obviously, he is injured now. Or kind of dealing with an injury, coming back from it. So I think he'll be good to go by either A, next week, or B, the week after that. Buy low on him now, stock him if you need, or stash him on the bench if you need to for a sec, or start him if your running backs are really that bad. And then finally, Christian Watson. Buy low on him right now. He hasn't played a single game, obviously, because of injury. But when he comes back, he is going to be Jordan Love's #1 target. And this pains me to say because I have been an avid Christian Watson hater for the past year and a half. I didn't think he was that good, but I am a Jordan Love believer. I think Christian Watson's going to easily step into that #1 wide receiver spot for them over Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs. He's just much more of a playmaker, in my opinion. I really believe that he's going to have a really good season when he comes back, and he's going to score a lot of touchdowns, especially as a deep threat. Go get him now while you can. Anyways, boys. And girls, sorry, Kiersten. What are we thinking?
Well, first of all, Ezra, thank you so much for your list. A lot of time spent doing so. I doubt it. They were kind of trash. But Phil was out here making some faces. We're going to start off, though, with Tank Dell. You said he was supposed to sell him high. I'm a little bit iffy on it because realistically, nobody really had their eyes on him. He wasn't on anyone's radar before week 1, before week 2. But recently, he just dropped 25.5 points against Jacksonville, which is the only reason I would consider him, a decent pickup. But Phil, what do you think about that pick?
Well, honestly, I think it's good, but C.J. Stroud, he's a rookie quarterback. And one thing rookie quarterback needs is a safety blanket, someone they could trust. Mm-hmm. So, like how you said, last game he had 25.5 fantasy points, 5 receptions, and he had 7 targets with 1 touchdown. Mm-hmm. Now, the second game when he played against the Colts, he had 7 receptions on 10 targets, 72 yards, and 1 touchdown, got 20.2 points. So I actually have Robert Woods. I'd say, you know what? I feel like, Robert Woods is a veteran receiver. C.J. Stroud is going to mostly look towards him. But it may be a little swing into it. We will have to see on this third game because you know me, I like consistency. So if he can stay consistent, let's say if Tank Dell could get about 15 to 20 points, I say, yeah, he could. Yeah, you could sell him high.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. You definitely could. And Kiersten, I'll kick it over to you real quick if you don't mind. But for Devin Achane, just
A-Train.
Please have Kiersten talk about the Dolphins player.
Selling him
do
high.
This to me? I mean, okay, so if you have him, I fully agree you need to sell him right now.
Yes.
Because if you had him on your roster for last week, I'm talking specifically to Brianna St. Jean, who had him on her bench. Yeah, the silence is deafening. She needs to sell him right now because his value is really high and he's not going to have another performance like that. So she needs to get rid of him right now. So if she's watching the show, get rid of him right now.
Here's the thing with A-Train, though, because week 1, no points. He got as many points as me. Did not play. Week 2, 1.9 points with 5 rushing yards, 4 receiving yards. Okay. And then 51.3. An absolute breakout.
Well, you know.
absolute breakout. No, yeah, but the thing with, like, you're not going to be able to sell him for much value at this point because, first of all, we're mentioning it now in the show that you should sell him high, so nobody in our fantasy league should be looking to buy him. That goes for everyone out there. Bree, you're kind of screwed right now. I'm not going to lie to you. But let's carry it on to Jahmyr Gibbs. Kiersten, I'll keep it on your side real quick. What do you think about buying him low?
Okay, so currently he's 15th for week 4 predictions. And I think that if he's been very consistent with his, like, previous points. So I think that if you're going to get him, you need to get him now, and you need to get him for a low price because his value is going to go up, but it's not going to go up and then stay up. I have a feeling he'll fluctuate later on in the season, so take advantage of him being up right now.
Yeah, and I think it's a decent pickup just because of Montgomery's questionable health at the moment.
Yeah. I actually have a question for y'all about that.
What's up?
When David Montgomery does inevitably come back, do you think that Jahmyr Gibbs will end up having a starting spot still?
It all depends what he do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it does.
No, it all depends. I'm sorry.
Regardless, I think if and when he does come back, then you should consider selling him.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. But then, Phil, I'll kick it to you with Breece Hall. Just the hopes and dreams of the New York Jets at this point because nothing seems to be.
I've been preaching this. The Jets got no identity. So I'm sorry.
Since the Rodgers injury.
Since the Rodgers injury, you're right.
Since
the Rodgers, they have no identity. So I'm sorry. I say get rid of. To me personally, I wouldn't even say trade. I'll say drop. Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. But since you're gonna say trade, honestly, I would, trade him low due to the fact. But like you was correct, Ezra. Breece Hall will get more carries than Dalvin Cook because I forgot. Dalvin Cook had probably like 8, 9
a whole bunch
attempts.
of nothing.
Yeah, basically. So if you're starting Dalvin Cook right now, you're basically wasting your time, honestly. But on Breece Hall buying low, I would buy him low. Honestly, on my team, I would probably give up for Breece Hall. Who on my team? I'm in 3 leagues. I'm trying to think. Van Jefferson. Trying to get rid
if
of
you
Van
give
Jefferson.
up Van Jefferson for Breece Hall, whoever makes that trade with you needs to be kicked out of the league immediately. I don't want to hear that at all.
You gotta pick up a train. And last but not least, Christian Watson. Ezra, I'll let you know, I'm a little bit iffy on this one just because I don't know how he's gonna perform when he comes back. He's put up no fantasy points this year.
Well, yeah, because
he's got no minutes. But I understand that he's in a good situation offensively, but you just don't know how he's going to be when he gets back.
It's like high risk, high reward.
Exactly, yeah.
He was super good under Aaron Rodgers. I think he'll be very good under Jordan Love, too. They play very similarly. They love the deep ball. I think Christian Watson, who uses his speed a lot, is going to really highly perform in this offense.
That's fair, and that's the reason why I'm not highlighting this red in my notes, just because he has the potential to be a breakout star in the NFL. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for sticking with us for NFL Fantasy segment. We'll be right back with our Surefire Picks of the Week.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Dominic Mullen. Welcome to Hitting the Field Network. Our first show that you're going to see on YouTube is Hitting the Field Main Show, hosted by yours truly on Mondays at noon, where you'll see me with a fresh fade and fresh news. I'll also be talking a little bit of the hottest topics in sports, and we are going to be arguing mainly on there. On Tuesdays at noon, you'll see Isaiah De Anda Delgado and Ty Patton on the Combine. Just more of a podcast, laid-back style of a show. And if you're looking for the most creative segment ideas, head on over there on Tuesday. On our off day, don't forget to check out the studio vlogs on Wednesdays. Andrew Montano does a great job of giving a little bit of the behind-the-scenes look into Hitting the Field. Moving to Thursdays, speaking of Andrew Montana, him, Philip Powell, and Ezra Hines lead the way on HTF Bets. The Bets boys always come dressed to impress, and if you're looking to win some money and catch up on the latest betting lines, that's the show for you. On Fridays, you're going to head over and see Matty Glass and the always wrong Tyler Brownrigg on Nighttime to break down everything about college sports. If you go to UCF or are interested in UCF sports, this is the best place for you. Sorry, Tyler. Our newest show here at Hitting the Field on Saturdays is Girl Talk, hosted by Kiersten Blaylock and Lexi Zolo. The all-female hosted show tackles breaking news all across the sports world and as well reliving the history and current state of your favorite team. Check that show out Saturdays at noon. Again, I am your main show host, Dominic Moeller, and if you're enjoying this content, don't be afraid to subscribe to our Hitting the Field YouTube and check out our Instagram. But for now, that's all. I'll see you on main show. Take care.
Welcome back, and here we are, last segment, last but not least, with our Surefire Picks of the Week with Ezra, Phil, both
winners.
both of which took a W.
Big
I took
dubs.
a L. Yeah, and I lost to you in fantasy, so that's like.
What
yeah.
Jameis
But
Winston did.
look. 2 L's make a W, right? Like we took in IMs last night. Thanks to Tyler not playing. Shout out, Matt. But real quick, we're just gonna pick any sporting event within the next week that's gonna go on, make a 3-leg parlay, and watch my hopes and dreams go down the drain each and every single week. Now, Ezra, I'll kick it off with you. A record of 1-3, mind you. We're gonna be talking about soccer. Usually hating on Chelsea, but is that gonna change at all this week?
Yeah. So this week it's gonna be a little bit different because we're gonna go from hating on Chelsea to actually choosing Chelsea to win.
Yikes.
This is going to be a strange game because Chelsea have been not that great. Record sitting at 1 win, 2 draws, 3 losses. Nobody's really betting on Chelsea to win this game, which gave them a very good money line of plus 105. And I think this is a very easy game for Chelsea to come back and win with. Like they're versing Fulham, who's currently 2-2-2 by literally complete definition of mid. So, and Fulham's not great offensively. Not that Chelsea is, but Fulham is not great offensively. I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game. Right now, I have it scoring as the total goal is going under 2.5. I think it could genuinely be a 1-0 draw or a 1-0 win, but I think it'll be a 1-0 win for Chelsea. That, for the under 2.5, it's sitting at a minus 110 because, obviously, neither team really scores the ball. And then for my player prop this week, I am going to go with Raheem Sterling being an anytime scorer. My only statistic on my notes underneath me is saying please because I'm just hoping and praying he does something for this team. I don't know who would score. I don't know who genuinely is going to be a consistent scorer for them this season. I'm just going to put all my belief in Raheem Sterling. He's sitting at a plus 185 to score. Go put all your money on it right now. I promise you. No promises. That this is gonna be a very, very good parlay to use this week. And Andrew, I don't want to hear anything from you. You're still 0-4.
I was gonna say we say that every week, but hey, you guys got 2 wins between the 2 of you.
Yeah.
Phil, I'll kick it over to you. He's taking over the battle of the AFC East this week. 305, talk to me.
Shocker.
Yes. So I had the Miami Dolphins beating the Buffalo Bills. Now you may be wondering, how's that a surefire pick? The Bills are on a decline.
It's surefire.
It's
sure and it's fire.
It is. The Bills are on a decline. Josh Allen, he is on a decline. The first week, I believe he had 4 turnovers. Now people are like, oh, but look what he did week 2 and week 3. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Bills are such Josh Allen eccentric that if he plays bad, their team is losing. So right now, I had the Dolphins money line at plus 124. Total touchdown. I feel like more of the touchdowns going to come from Miami more than the Bills. It's at 6.5. I take the over at plus 110. And then, of course, Tyreek Hill, anytime touchdown. I have it at minus 143. I honestly would say he'll probably get 2, but I say, you know what?
2.
I'll play it safe because they definitely are going to try to game plan around Tyreek Hill. So that's why I just say, you know what? He'll get that one at minus 143. But, hey, I'm about to go 2-3. Hey, it's only up from here.
Same.
Only up.
Oh, yeah, me too. I'll be 2-3 after this week, too.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Is Jalen Waddle back?
Oh, yeah. He was
okay.
a full participant in practice, I think, on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Unlike
so
me.
He's back.
Thank God he's on my fantasy team. He needs to perform. Yes, he is.
Well, I mean, you were fine. You had your kicker, Willikers.
I also had Tank Dell on my team, so that's what kind
the
of
free
screwed you over.
26
We just don't have River Craycraft. That's why.
No, yeah, River Craycraft, the really consistent scorer, unless I, of course, put him in my parlay.
What a parlay pick.
Literally. But let me just mention it. You guys have both won one of your parlays, but I've won the most legs.
Well, it doesn't matter.
A
dub's a dub at the end of the day.
I understand, but let me just throw that out there. I got a little asterisk over me. But I'm going to wrap it up with some college football. UF beating Kentucky this Saturday. And honestly, it's kind of going to remind me of the Bears and who are they playing?
Broncos.
Bears and Broncos, yeah, self-serve. Bears and Broncos, they're both like good but not good. UF is currently ranked 23rd, and Kentucky isn't ranked at all. But I'm going to be taking US money line sitting at plus 300. Following that is over 46 total points between the two at minus 110. Hey, I'm just taking that because over has been really kind to me recently.
Oh, I'm not.
That's the only reason.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not shaking my head at that. I'm shaking my head at something else. But I'll let you.
Oh, okay. And last but not least, Kentucky's Ray Davis being an anytime scorer at minus 155. What did you have to say?
The fact that you're a UCF student and betting on UF kind of hurts me in the heart a little bit.
We need to talk after this, and you'll see why. But Phil, what do you think about that pick?
Honestly, I think you lowballing UF. They're actually pretty
they're
great
all right,
team,
but
they're better than what people give them credit for.
I kind of disagree. I don't think they should be ranked, but like a couple spots below. Nothing crazy. Like I would say, like
be ranked. Who you put on?
No, they just beat Charlotte by like they scored 1 touchdown and the rest were field goals. Like
Hey.
it was nothing crazy.
Alabama barely beat USF, and look what happened.
They dropped 2. But thank you guys so much for watching this weirdly entertaining show, I guess.
Very eventful.
Yes, and UCF football, we need to beat the living bleep out of Baylor this weekend. I cannot wait to see that game. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be right back next week with some more HTF bets. Until then, go Knights, charge on.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta